Hi there. So this is going to be a set of videos about putting together assemblies. So the first thing I'm going to do is going back to lab materials, and the last lab we had was Lab E, and I'm going to come in here and download the assembly exercise, the zip folder. I'm just going to drop that to my desktop, and here it is as a zip folder. So depending on what your machine is and how it's configured, it'll have a zip on it or a 7-zip or some type of icon that will tell you that it is a compressed folder. I'm just using Windows 10, so I can right-click on it. I'll just click on Extract All. It asks me where is it going to be extracted to, so it's going to create a new folder called Assembly Exercise based upon the name of the zip file, and I'm just going to select Extract. And the checkbox says Show the extracted file, so just to keep this video nice and short, I'm just going to start the assembly and put down the first couple parts. So I'm going to create a new assembly. I'll select OK. So it brings up the Begin Assembly command in the property manager. And I'm just going to scroll to my desktop, go to the assembly exercise folder, and let me just put these into, use large icons so you can actually see what the parts are, and I'll select the base arm. So as I mentioned, as long as you click on the green check mark here, the origin of the part will be made coincident with the origin of the assembly, and front plane will be made at the front plane, etc. All right, so this part is in here. If I look down the lower right-hand corner, my assembly is fully defined, and next to the name base arm of the part is an F that implies or tells you that this part is fixed in space. So I'm going to go back to my Assembly tab. I'm going to go Insert Components. I'm going to select the base arm, and I'll select Open. So I'm just going to drop it here now, right? I can move it any way I want. I'm just going to drop it. So now I'm going to fix this using 3 constraints, 2 coincident constraints and 1 concentric constraint. But first I'm going to kind of drag this part over. Now again, I had mentioned that the way you drag is you go over the part until some part of it is highlighted orange, and then just click your left mouse button and drag in one motion. And then just click somewhere in the graphics window to deselect it. I'm going to go to my Mate toolbar. I'm going to use the Smart Mate ability of SOLIDWORKS, so I'm just going to click on this surface. As I mentioned, that when you click on the surface of the first part, it'll go transparent on you, and then I'll click on what I want to be the mating surface of the second part. So those 2 are coincident. Now again, remember I am using my middle mouse button to rotate and the zoom button to getting close to the things that I want. So again, I'm going to select this face on the second part, middle mouse button, rotate to make this, the mating surface on the first part visible. I'll select click, and SOLIDWORKS again assumes that I want a coincident mate, which is what I do. So I'll click the check mark for add and finish the mate. Now the last thing I need to do is make one of these cylinders coincident with the other one. So in this case, maybe I'll just select the top one. So I'm going to select this cylinder. Now notice, I don't have to select the inside cylinder. I just need to select a concentric mate is just going to make 2 cylinders coincident with each other. Like for instance, I can select this one, and even out here, because all of these cylinders are concentric with each other. And the icon that shows up is that this is the concentric icon. I will select Add Finish Mate, and that's what I have ended up with. So I'm fully defined, but there is this issue where the part that I brought in isn't exactly made correctly, because you can see that the pin is kind of breaking through the surface. So let's go ahead and fix that. The way I can do that is I do not have to do anything with the assembly. I can just go back and modify the part. So I'm going to select Open. I'm going to open the base arm. Base arm 2 is the name of the part. And I can see that there's no hole here. So let me just modify that. I can't just modify the extrusion because this was extruded from this surface, so I'll create a new sketch onto this surface here. I'll use my Convert Entities tool to convert the edge of the inner cylinder to a sketch entity. And then I will go to the Features tab and make an extruded cut that will go all the way through the part. So switch blind to through all. So it's going to go all the way through the part, and I'll select OK. So now you can see that the part is completely done. All right, so let me go back to the assembly. And when I go back to the assembly, it's going to ask me, do I want to update the assembly with the new part? I'm going to say yes. All right, so there's my new part, and you can see that the pin is properly oriented now. All right, so this is where I'm going to stop this video, and the next one we'll pick up by adding in the additional components.